Hey, hi sisters. We're back for another video, another topic. And welcome any brothers who considers themselves my brothers. If you're not married to me, then you're my brother. If you believe this truth, whether you do or don't, it doesn't really matter. If you're here to listen, good. If you're not here to listen, if you have faith in your idol, then I suggest you go that way and stay in your faith, which blinds you to the truth and plugs your ears to listen. That's all that word faith does, and that's what it was meant to do. And it has done it to so many. That is why there is a chosen few out that will understand that narrow path, and you will only understand it when you choose to listen. You will not hear the truth if you're in faith in an idol that you were warned about in the Old Testament not to make. So, anyway, here we go. Let's begin in, I do have it up right there. Okay. Galatians 4. We're going to read here and see if we can understand some things. This is considering taking in context Hagar and Sarah. So it says in verse 25, it says, now Hagar stands for Mount Sinai. That's important. We should be wanting to study that in the Old Testament. Nobody does. Mount Sinai in Arabia and corresponds to the present day Jerusalem because she is in slavery with her children. And indeed, the harlot spirit is in slavery. But the Jerusalem above is free, and she is our mother. For it is written, rejoice, O barren woman who bears no children. Break forth and cry aloud, you who have never travailed, because more are the children of the desolate woman than of her who has a husband. So we looked at that verse, that particular verse that is in Galatians 4:27. Of course, that's going to take you to Isaiah 54, verse 1. And the wife there, which is going to be Hagar, that man actually chose to marry, is identified as a harlot spirit that bows to man under the laws that comes from this Mount Sinai, but we're going to understand why, okay? So first of all, but the Jerusalem above is free. Let's look that word free up, okay? Let's plant this in our brain pretty good. Okay, so it's Strong's Greek 1658. What does it say? It says free, delivered from obligations, properly free, liberated. Oh, the men hate this word. Unbound, unshackled, figuratively free to realize one's destiny in Christ, not in Christ as you know him, a man, but Christ means the anointed one. All right? And that ain't a man. The Old Testament has identified her over and over again as the Holy Spirit. And you are free to realize your destiny in the Holy Spirit. That's right. You're free. So where might we find these obligations? And of course, this unshackle will take you also to Isaiah 52. Pick thyself up out of the dust of the earth, daughter Zion, and take back your throne. And harlot Babylon, come down. There is no throne for you. So when it means free, liberty, and free from obligations. So we know that what she takes off of her neck in Isaiah 52, verse 1 to 4, is the shackle of the man-made law, that he's her head and he's God and he birthed everything. And we know that it was the Assyrian that when they went down into Egypt, there the Assyrian oppressed them. And we link his name, Sennacherib was the Assyrian that did in fact oppress them there. And we did a study on his name. I will find that video and I will post it down below. So this is important sin because we found a location in Egypt called Sin. So there they went down into Egypt, right? And there the Assyrian oppressed them. We get Sennacherib's name linked to this location in Egypt. Now, what else gets cut away in this obligation that she's no longer, obligated to do? Well, she's no longer obligated to deliver the children. She's actually freed from that obligation. And we're going to understand that. I thought I had it pulled up. Oh, I do, right here in my Bible. And that's going to take us to Isaiah 22. So verse 22, and it was Shebna. And Shebna takes you to the seat that the Shekinah would sit in. Once you understand, and we did a video on that too. I can't quite remember it. But anyway, Shebna's name did so link us to this seat where the commander of the host actually does sit, identified as the Shekinah glory, and that's female. So Isaiah 22, verse 22, and the key of the house of David, David, I would say it's key of the house of Israel, and I will lay upon her shoulder. So she shall open, that means open the understanding of the word. None can open it, and none can shut it, but this one that she lays it upon, and she shall shut, and none shall open. And I will fasten her. Once you go through all these videos, and you begin to weave that truth together for yourself, because nobody else can do it but you and the Spirit together. You can ask me many questions, and I can tell you a lot of things, but it's really on you to see it for yourself. It really is. I can't open your eyes. I can't open your ears. It's really on you to pull them, the verses, and pull that understanding together for yourself. So, and she shall open, and I will fasten her as a nail in a sure place, and she shall be for a glorious throne to her mother's house, not her father's. Because once we trace it all back, we understand exactly what was going on. We do. And they shall hang upon her all the glory of her mother's house, the offspring, and the issue, that's all to do with the deliverance of children, all vessels of small quantity, from the vessels of cups even to all the vessels of the flagons. So those were representative of the precious daughters that served in the house of God, Mother, which was the house in the forest of Lebanon. All of these vessels actually are identified as precious daughters that served the Lord in one capacity or another. So they truly went to allegory on these items and what they represented. And so we actually see them taking these vessels out of the house, out of God's house, and then we get them melting them down, in which they did. But they don't mention that these duties were actually upheld by women and not men, right? And we understood that. We simply can understand that once we go through it all. If you don't want to go through it and you want to go, ha, nah, because you've watched a whole 5 minutes, then, go to your idol. He'll save you in the day of calamity. In that day, saith the Lord of hosts, shall the nail that is fastened in the sure place be removed. So there we go. Free from obligations, liberated, right? In that day, saith the Lord of hosts, shall the nail that is fastened in the sure place be removed and be cut down and fall. And the burden, we identified that burden, it was the deliverance of the children, that was upon her shall be cut off, for the Lord hath spoken it. Now, they place this burden on a man hanging on the cross, but really the whole time that he gets all the glory, she's the one that's getting the burden, right? Yeah. So that's the burden that actually gets cut away, is she's free from obligations. She takes this religious lie, this covenant that is currently in play, making her play his harlot, bowing to this man as if he's Lord and God. He's so clever, Satan is. And this is the covenant to be disannulled. Disannulled, right? She is free. She is liberated. She is free from obligations from this point on. Once she does, in fact, restore her mother's house. Yes. And we know she does. That she's able to do this. At least those that belong to the mother, right? So free from delivered from obligations, when you free to realize your own destiny, you are unbound, you are unshackled. So again, that takes us to Isaiah 52. I'll go there because I just have this right in front of me. Isaiah. So what did it say in Isaiah 52 about? And it's about the daughter. It's not about the sons taking the shackle off. It's about the women taking the shackle off under his ridiculous lie and law system that they used to bound her. Zion will escape. Awake, awake. Put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come in unto thee the uncircumcised, those whose covenant is with the heart spirit. Pass to them as if they're Lord and God, man. And the unclean, shake thyself from the dust. Arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Loose thyself from the bands on thy neck. O captive daughter of Zion. So she's going to be unshackled, right? They never talk of this, do they? No, it's, she's so wicked. He's got to wash her in his blood and then claim to be her head. And you can't say no to him on nothing because he rules her. I do not wear a male head on this female body. I wear my own head with my own brain and my own destiny, and that is not yours or you to tell me what it is. You took that from me. So, but God puts that on her, again in Isaiah 22, because she had to restore the house back, right? So we see the glory leaving in Ezekiel, and that's the reason why, because she finds an idol standing in her house, which is the idol of a man as if he's Lord and God, right? So anyway, for thus saith the Lord, ye have sold yourselves for naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money. And you're not redeemed with blood. Isaiah 4:4, she says, I will wash the blood and filth, human excrement of your husband Baal and all his religious lies and law that he taught to you. You come to my waters, Isaiah 55, freely, and drink freely, and you will be cleansed. That's what she says. So you sold yourself for naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money. For thus saith the Lord God, my people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. Okay, so now let's bring in the Assyrian, and there's really quite an easy way to do that here. So we'll backtrack out of this. We're going to stay in Galatians for just a little bit longer here. Okay. So, my computer's slow again. That's usually what happens when I have too many tabs up. Okay. Okay. So what did it say? Right? About Hagar and Sarah? Abraham went and got himself another woman, Hagar, right? We discussed her quite a while ago on Ruth Abbey, quite a while back, about these two women. Anyway, if I could find the videos, I'd post them. So now Hagar stands for Mount Sinai in Arabia, corresponds to present-day Jerusalem, because you are not free. You are under the bondage of lies that they fed out to the four corners of the world. We've discovered that in quite early on, that's exactly what they were doing. They were feeding a religious lie out to the four corners of the world that would actually subjugate the women under the men. That's just what this was all about. But the Jerusalem above is free, and she is our mother. She's truly our mother, those of us who hears her. For it is written, rejoice, O barren woman who bears no children. Break forth and cry aloud, you who have never travailed, because more are the children of the desolate woman than of her who has a husband. So this we looked at, this is actually one of our key passages that we used in the very beginning all those years ago. This was actually one of the key passages that we actually zeroed in on and helped us understand so many things. I haven't spoken on this verse in a long time. So I thought now was the time to maybe bring it in. So now we're going to backtrack just a minute here to verse 25. And we're going to go up onto Sinai, and we're going to pull up what that means, okay? Before we go back into the Old Testament. And, those who go, well, we don't need the Old Testament. Well, you're never going to understand what's going on without it. I can tell you that. You're in a ditch. and you were told not to bow to an idol, which is what you're currently doing, and you were warned it in the Old Testament, and you were told to rightly divide the word, which you are not doing. You are actually Hagar. You are under bondage of a law system. And you could say, no, you're not. Yes, you are. When you're teaching man as woman's head, teaching a religious lie and an idol that she has to bow down to. So Sinai, 4614 Sinai, a mountain in Arabia, of Hebrew origin, Sinai, right? Let's go down here. Probably on the Sinai Peninsula, of Hebrew origin, Sinai, Sinai. Okay, now we're going to hit on this word, the mountain where the law was given. Yes. What law? Which law? It just told us that that's the one where the bondage came from, right? The law of bondage came from. Well, we're also told that Moses went up and received in the beginning only 10 commandments in the very beginning, right? Then when he went down, what did he do? He smashes these 2 tablets of commandments because he's astounded that they have made themselves, guess what? An idol, a golden calf idol, right? Right? So he goes up a second time. The Lord ain't so lenient, right? But watch where all of these, so it says, okay, the mountain where the law was given, and then it's gonna give you sin. Is another one, a derivative that you have to hit on. Just follow. 1, 2, an Egyptian or an east frontier city of Egypt. Yeah. Now we understood what that meant. All right. And what did it say here? Clay. Now I wasn't going to do this, but because we're here, why not? Oh, if my computer would speed up a little bit. So, Egyptian, it says clay of, right? Or dirt, mud. So we get that actually Sennacherib was about reshaping the brethren. How did he reshape them? Well, he reshaped them by subjugating the sisters and putting them under this religious lie and law system. So watch, we're actually gonna go into Wikipedia. Okay, sorry about this. Wikipedia, and we're gonna pull up Sennacherib, that pointy cherub. So we broke his name down into 2. I'll just go over this right quick. Sin, and then cherub, right? I ain't got it wrote there either. Just a minute. I got that wrong. Let's go back here. There, now I got it. So we broke his name down into Senna and cherub, right? So we know what cherub means, right? And Senna, when you get looking at it, means a blackberry bush. Well, a blackberry bush has thorns on it, so we actually identify him as the pointing cherub. And he did point to the Lord that sat between the cherubims, which in itself may actually be the idol, part of the idol system, because we discussed it with King Solomon in the temple with these cherubs, each to one side of the Ark of the Covenant. But Sennacherib's name meant that pointy cherub. That's how we broke his name down. And he really was blaspheming her, the Holy One. So when we go into Wikipedia and we pull up Sennacherib's name, all right, Neo-Assyrian and Akkadian, that's interesting, that comes in. So meaning sin, the meaning of his name, sin has replaced the brothers. The brothers became accusers and blasphemers because he was reshaping the clay, in a sense. He was taking away her rightful position of power. So what does sin actually mean? Is the Mesopotamian god representing the moon? What's moon? It governs the night, doesn't it? Why these 2 names originate in 2 different languages. Okay, respectively, Akkadian and Sumerian. So you got to run down the names is what you got to do a lot of the time to get the true meaning behind what they're hiding and what they buried. Okay. So now we're going to go here. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 18:16. All right. So, for this is what you asked of the Lord your God at Horeb on the day of the assembly when you said, let us not hear the voice of the Lord our God, nor see this great fire anymore, or we will die. Why? What was going on? Right here, because this is Mount Sinai that we're looking at. All right. They've got it translated as Horeb. It's a name for Sinai. And the people were terrified. And the people were terrified because they had actually went against the Lord at that time. And they had made themselves idols in their camp. And this is why the Lord was so angry. And this is why the people were so scared and terrified. Okay? So when we go in here and we actually hit on either the word Horeb, which means Sinai, or the word Sinai, depending on your translations, whichever one you want to use. So we'll hit on Horeb 2722. This gets really fascinating when you run the meaning of the words out. You start to follow it, just what's going on. It's getting close to cherub as well, isn't it? Waste, a mountain in Sinai. Okay, so let's go down here. Waste, desert. Right, cherub, desert. A generic name for the Sciatic Mountains. I know I'm not saying that right. Sinaitic mountain. You know what it means? To be dry or dried up. To be dry. What were they doing? What were they working at? To dry her well of water up. Be dried up, taken away of waters of flood. They were drying her well of water up. That's interesting. Why? Why is it interesting? Decay. Be desolate. Oh, you mean the meaning of the name of Sinai means to be desolate, right? Yet more are the children of the desolate, your mother above, who you denied and turned on, said, nah, we don't want her law. Nah, we'll write our own. These were the men. That's what they were saying. We've run it all out. Destroyer, desolate. All right. Now, when we go and look the word Sinai, Sion up, it's a mountain in Jerusalem, also named for Jerusalem, a mountain in Jerusalem, Zion. We keep going down here. A permanent capital, a mountain. And if we hit on its derivative, a signpost, a monument, yeah, it's the signpost and monument where the law system come out of, fed out to the four corners of the world. So a sign, a title, a waymark. But if we hit on this, another derivative, we follow it out 3 times, it takes it dryness, drought. It's noun feminine. She became a dry desert land. They were no longer listening to her because sin had come in. He blasphemed the Holy One and he reshaped the brethrens so that they would not receive her law, is what was going on here. So when we go to, and I think that's all that we wanted to look at there. When we go to Psalm 68, we find her here with her village of women, is, after her rejection from Sinai, after she was ejected out of Sinai. Moses goes up the second time and he supposedly comes down again with the law. I think the law at that time became very extensive. And it says she turned to be their enemy, is what we're told of her, who went down to make a name for herself in Isaiah. Is it 63? If it's not 63, it's 64. Where is she who placed her spirit within him? The Holy One above is asking. Where? All right. So she gets accused We know she got accused because we did the study from the book of Job, where she says, oh, that my accuser had written his accusations in a book, I would wear it like a crown upon my head. And when you go in, you look the word up there for the accuser, it's man. Man accused her. And she gets tossed down off of her throne when the harlot spirit gets exalted to the commander of the host. And we know all of this, so I may not get to reading Psalm 68. We may do that in another video, okay? Because this one's already getting longer than I'm comfortable with. So if we go to Daniel, we'll read there for anybody who's along and hasn't been through this stuff yet. It's all there. Is it 8 or 7? I think it's 7. We'll punch in 7 anyway to get there. All right. Because we've been over this and over this multiple times. Yeah, probably a little bit on both channels, but more so on Ruth Abbey. So let's go down. No, maybe it is 8. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's 8. Because I'm not finding it. Yeah, it's 8. Let's go ahead one. It's Daniel chapter 8, I believe. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we'll begin. Okay, in verse 8. Now, we're going to take the allegorical route like we always do. So, a he-goat is not a she-goat. A he-goat is identified as a satyr, actually a devil, or a daemon, a demon. And we know it's important, that term he-goat, because what a he-goat does or she-goat does is they climb to the mountain. So he as the devil, the demon, the wicked man, as the he-goat, because he's not mentioned in the restoration covenant of Genesis 15:9. She is. It's her mountain. The she-goat is mentioned there. Total opposite. The he-goat's wicked. The she-goat is righteous. So the he-goat actually climbed himself to the top of her mountain, and he pushes her off of it. So he can play God and write the laws. That's just what he was doing. So in allegory, we actually get what he did to this desolate Lord on Sinai. He was at work then. So therefore, the he-goat waxed very great. This is verse 8. So understand, we get a he-goat here. Understand what that he-goat represents. It represents the devil, the wickedness of man, and the wickedness in his heart. And he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. So what's the great horn? All right, usually allegorical. The horn is allegorical to the spiritual power, which is female, which is why horn is usually female. So it's the exalted feminine power in the spirit. So the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones, and toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceedingly great towards the south, towards the east, and toward the pleasant land. What's another name for the pleasant land? Israel. The pleasant land was Israel. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven. Okay. So what waxed great? Well, now we're going to get that horn that was waxing great, which was the harlot spirit in man's heart. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host, some of the stars, some of the angels, some of these women, and we get them identified being cast down as the daughter Zion herself in Lamentations 2 with the glory being cast down because of the lies and accusations that fallen Adam was using to exalt himself to her throne, which we find him doing, and he actually managed to do it in Isaiah 14, where the women then say, since thou hast come up, no axeman has come up against us, right? Since you have come up. In Isaiah 14, where he exalted himself to the hosts of heaven, is what he does when he exalts the harlot. So there's a double play there that he makes. down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. And indeed, it was these righteous daughters that they were stamping upon when they cast them down. Yea, he magnified himself, and he did, even to the principal of the host. That was the righteous daughter of Zion. So he magnified himself to her throne, but he used the harlot to get himself there. And by him, the daily sacrifice was taken away. Now, this isn't a sacrifice of blood. We understood this. We went through it all again, probably 2 or 3 years ago. And I probably ain't been over the material since then. So it's been a while. But that a sacrifice was a free will offering of thanks unto the Lord. It did not require blood, and it was not, most likely, not blood, because the Lord said, I ask no blood of you. I never did. So we reviewed that. We looked at that multiple times, but it has been a while since we looked at it. So the daily sacrifice, so by him, exalting himself to her throne, we find him doing that again in Isaiah 14. And yet daughter Zion is told, pick yourself up out of the dust of the earth and take off these religious lies that Baal, your husband, is telling you and filling you full of, and you will be free of these ridiculous obligations. You are never to be found married to this type. Never. You were free and had liberties. And it wasn't his head over yours. No, my children are equal. That's what our mother says, who is from above. Yea, he magnified himself even to the principal of the host. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of her sanctuary was cast down. So her sanctuary was the house in the forest of Lebanon, we identified, was the house that got cast down, and where actually the government of God met, right? And an host was given to him, it's got him, but it was gave to her, the harlot, in the beginning, and then the harlot hands it over to him, is what she does, because by this point, we see them really departing from the truth. They no longer know the truth, have no idea what it is, and can't be bothered to listen, because now, by this time, they're in the ditch, they're in the snare that Baal laid for these daughters to fall into. They have all fallen into it, and they will not escape, yet she does escape according to the Old Testament. And the reason why, and she warned you long ago, she says, if you make these idols, this idol of a man, and you get ensnared in it, you will not be able to come out of it. And we see now why they can't come out of it, because of this little word called faith. 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 Well, with your faith, they teach you. You don't need to listen. You don't need to reason. You don't need to see anything. All you need is to kiss the idol's butt. And that's Baal, your husband. That's all you got to do, girls. He'll make sure everything's fine. Will he? Yea, he magnified himself even to the principal. Yep. The first fruit, the chief of the host. And by him, and the harlot, the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of her sanctuary was cast down. So then we get one angel talking to another. How long will this last? How long will our sanctuary be defiled? And we get the angel saying 2,300 days and nights. So I tend to take that to years. We do get numbers corresponding to 2,200 anyway, years. I forget, I was just looking into that. And now I can't remember where that was. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice. So the host was her children being raised up under his religious lies and laws. You no longer give thanks unto wisdom and unto mother. It's all he. So the daily sacrifice and thanks will offering, a free will offering, not of blood, that was normally made unto wisdom, our creator, our maker, our potter, is no longer going on, because he takes control of the children. That's your hosts. He takes control of. And the harlot, which we identified in Isaiah 54:1, Baal herself, is just like him, because, they are one. She teaches his religious lies and plays his harlot and builds him up just like a Jeza-baal does. And an host was given him. Okay, I already read that. Sacrifice by reason. Okay, no, I didn't. And an host was given to him against the daily sacrifices by reason of transgression. What transgression? They transgressed her holy law that came off of her daughter's tongue, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it has practiced and it has prospered. But there comes a time when it comes to an end. Okay, and this is where the verse is, verse 13. Then I heard one saint speaking to another holy one. These are daughters, one to another, speaking one to another. That term, one to another, in Ezekiel will take you to the wings on the cherubim. That's your exalted spiritual glory is what that represents. And the two words there, one to another, will be bride and sister is what you'll get. Yeah. But they cut the wings, and then Adam was told to stand and answer like a man, because he didn't want his great help, God from above, known as the presence of God on earth. So, then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spoke, how long shall be the vision? The vision. So there we go with that vision again, which takes us to Habakkuk 3. And at the end, the vision will speak, right? So the end is the 2300 days. So let's go there. Let me see, where was it going to go? Habakkuk. We're going to Habakkuk. What does God say in Habakkuk concerning the vision? We've done several videos on this. I never know how many videos I've done on anything. When you got this many videos and topics going, you can't really keep track of everything. It really becomes impossible to do that. Okay, so Habakkuk. Where is Habakkuk? Habakkuk is one of those books I always have trouble finding. Okay, so in Habakkuk, no, it's 2. I always say 3 for 2 and 2 for 3 when it comes to Habakkuk. And then when it comes to the daughter of Zion has shaken her head, I always say 1 Kings 19 instead of 2 Kings 19. And I'll often say Psalm 22 or Isaiah 22 for Psalm 22. And I kind of do that a lot with Psalm and Isaiah. I'll often say a chapter, and I'll say it's either Psalm or Isaiah when it's really the other one. So oftentimes if I get it wrong and you do actually go looking for it and you go, well, it ain't there, try the opposite of that, which would be Psalm, Isaiah. Those are usually the two I get mixed up the most. But here in Habakkuk 2, concerning the vision, what does it say? How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation? See, we keep bringing in that word desolation, because yet more are the children of the desolate spirit, she who is our mother above, than of she who has a husband, yet more are her children. The desolate spirit that was denied. So the abomination of desolation becomes a man inside of a man. He no longer is hearkening to her law, and as such she becomes the desolate spirit, which is our difference between Hagar and Sarah. Sarah was the chosen one that she chose out. And Abraham thought it was all about him. He went and got Hagar, right? Because he really thought Sarah wasn't going to provide him with a child, because he thought it was all about him. And it really wasn't. And in the end, what does he do? He ends up causing a great deal of trouble through Hagar for the people that Sarah brings forth. Yeah, he really caused a great deal of trouble for her by not being able to keep it in his pants. Because you see, there was a law, and we did this quite a while ago, a long time ago, actually, that we found that actually was in existence around the time of Sarah, from what we understood, that if she had failed to provide a male heir, I get so sick of that one. Yeah, because, he can provide just so many children. She can't. It's him. But anyway, in that day when Sarah existed, there was this belief that if she had failed to provide him with any male heirs, that he had the right to just get rid of her, kick her out of the house, because the house is his and everything belongs to him. More of the religious lie that he stuck on your neck, took your goods from you, said, you don't got rights, you have to listen to me, I'm your head. That's all part of the religious lie. If you believe in Jesus, then you believe man is your head. There's no way you're getting around it. Plain and simple. Because that's why Jesus, I've heard it from every man, whether they are Christians or not, that man is your head because of what they taught in the New Testament. And there's so many things that go on. And Jesus did not expand the scriptures. And Mother says in Isaiah 48, your idol will never be able to expand the scriptures. Never. We did a video on that. So we get that term desolation all the time. All the time. And it's all to do with the woman that was the rejected spirit, which was righteous. And she is the mother of us all. Truly, she gave life to us in the beginning, and you denied the potter. You told her she had no power over her own creation. And that is female, that is not male. So how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation? They transgressed her holy law. And when they rejected the law off of her tongue, the mother's tongue, then she becomes the desolate spirit, because all children that gets raised up under father's law, and then daddy gets exalted like daddy is everything, and mommy is nothing. She becomes a desolate spirit. You get it? They're not hearkening to her law, and you will all receive the antichrist when he shows up to his temple, which he's already here. That's the clever part. You've been worshiping him for thousands and thousands of years. Yeah. It just determines how far they want to go with their own self-fulfilling of their scriptures. They may bring in a man, may build a third temple, may bring in a man, and you actually are not going to turn against him because he's going to be so sweet, butter wouldn't melt in his mouth, and you're going to bow down to him, and he's truly the Antichrist, the antinomian. Anti means against, anomian was law. That's what they're transgressing here, her law, and they're actually making her a desolate spirit and placing a yoke upon her neck, and then the burden comes upon her, and yet the burden will be cut off, and she will not be responsible for delivering the children, because it says this spirit comes like a thief in the night, and she comes like a thief in the night, because it means you are in idol worship, you are in adultery, you are not in a position to hear, as long as you are unwilling to, as long as you say, I have faith, I don't need to hear, I don't need to see, I don't need to rightly divide the word, I can cut off the Old Testament. No, you can't, because the Old Testament is going to validate everything that we're telling you about your idol that you made. So, and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot, indeed. And she said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. There you go. So now the vision in verse 13 here of Daniel 8 takes us to Habakkuk 2. We did a great video on this. If I could find it, posted underneath, I would. And I really don't even know which channel it's on anymore. I don't know if I did it on Eighth Day Dawning or if I did it on Ruth Abbey. But it says, I will stand upon my watch. All right, we did a good video on this. And set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what she will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. So she becomes reproved under the religious lie that she's telling, right? Jesus died. He washed me in his blood. He loves me so much. She becomes reproved for that religious lie, right? Let's look that word up. It's 8433, just so I get a better handle on that. Okay. Strong's Hebrew. Oh, where are you going? Oh, come on. It's being difficult. Let's see where am I? Nope. Now I'm way off. Okay, we'll get there. There we go. Oh my gosh. Really? No, it's there. There we go. It's the other one. My hand's off on. Well, it should not be. It was 8. Was it? It was, I'll get there. 8433. 8433. For reproof. Reproved. 8433. Rebuke, correction. So the Spirit corrects her. Noun feminine. The Spirit is she, and she's correcting her. No, she's saying, you're wrong. You're wrong by what you believe. You're wrong by what you've concluded because you haven't gone in and studied. So she says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower and will watch to see what she will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved, rebuked, and corrected. All right? When you go in and you do the deep study, she's going to rebuke you and correct you. All right? Now it's going to take us to the vision in the next verse. So verse 2 of Habakkuk 2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that she may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, and it will not tarry. Watch what force. Behold, his soul, man's soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by, not faith. That's a lie. By the truth. By the truth. You live by the faith. Come to my waters. I'll wash the blood and the human excrement of Baal, your husband. Baal means Lord of Dung. It's another word for your husband. And I'll wash that off of you. She says, I asked no blood of you. I never did. So we get it all. We get it all. So I was going to read. All right. So now I'm promising you another video. Basically, we're going to pull that word Sinai in the next video. Because how long is this one now? Yeah, this one's 47 minutes. So if I start on these 2 chapters, which I did intend on going through completely, the video is going to be like over 2 hours long. So I think 48 minutes is probably good enough. But I am promising you we're going to take this topic of the Sinai, Mount Sinai, where we get the desolate spirit and we see her being burned to ashes in Psalm 68. So we're actually going to read the entire chapter is what I'm going to promise at this point. Psalm 68, and that's going to take us into Psalm 69 as well, if memory serves. So that'll probably be our next focus. Yeah, part of this study is basically what we're going to do into the next video. So I think that is everything for now that we wanted to share. Just making sure there's nothing else here to include. Okay, so there we go. There's our video. And anyway, I'll post this sometime. I don't know when. Thanks for watching. I pray the Lord blesses you with an abundance. Truth, it is for those with their ears open, their eyes open, a willing heart, willing to hear the truth and to reason. Wisdom says, when I called, you couldn't be bothered to listen to anything I had to say, and that's the bulk of the world today. You watch so many of those boastful males and so many of those boastful women who cannot be bothered to watch anything that we're studying or saying, and we are studying it, we are looking into it. We're just not reading what some man said 2,000 years ago, and clearly when we went in and studied much of what these men said, they absolutely hated women, and we get them shooting at these women. Baal, Baal is the name for archers, in Genesis 49, 23, 24, I think, as these branches, daughters ran over the wall. We get husbands shooting at them, Baal shooting at them with their words, with their lying words. And it says they hated me without a cause. And they did. They hated her. And men like Sennacherib, I'm not so sure, isn't the pointy cherub. Satan, Adam, that supposed, who went about reshaping his brothers to hate womankind. And these men who can't be bothered to go in and study and go, oh, you won't take my hope from me. You have no hope because you won't open your ears or your eyes. You can pretend all you want. You got great hope. It ain't hope. It's an idol. Yeah. God wouldn't make me and go, hey, you're less than him. You're under him. He's your head because, hey, stupid, you got beguiled. Well, we did. But she says, it's on you now to restore my house back to me. And I'll cut the burden away from you when you finally hear I will reprove you, and you will be corrected in what it is that you think is the truth. So she actually provides us our way out. She's our deliverer. The one that bore the burden daily is truly the one that the salvation comes through. That's what Psalm 68 says. It's hers. So anyway, again, thanks for watching my videos. I pray the Lord blesses you with an abundance of truth, and I hope you all have had a lovely day. It's coming on to evening here now. It is the evening here now, and I hope you all have a lovely evening as well. Thanks again.